Hello! Hi! Welcome back!
How you been?
How was the holiday? How was Thanksgiving? Today marks the very first day of JOJOMAS. I couldn't come up with a more clever name, but if you have something, then please let me know because JOJOMAS was the best thing I could think of. But yeah, it is officially the holiday season and I'm so excited. This is our first holiday season together. And what better way of celebrating JOJOMAS for the very first time by talking about characters who you want to rip the guts out of and sell those same guts on the black market.
Oh!
I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but I kind of giggled at it. Maybe one of you did as well.
You guys hear me? Hey, let me know
Anyway, so yeah, you guys really wanted a part 2 to me talking about characters who you do not like and ranking them based on how much I agree with them. So we're doing that again today. I took you guys through the tier list last time, so I'm not gonna do it again. If you haven't seen part 1, go watch part 1.
Don't piss me off.
Buckle in, strap in, get your hot chocolate, get your best pajamas on. It's gonna be a fun day. Okay, so I am using the same Google form as last time, and I'm going through the new submissions as well as old ones that didn't get picked originally. So I'm excited to see who else you guys have added to this pile, and I'm also excited to see who I didn't get to as well. So yeah. So the very first character we have is Matt Donovan from the Vampire Diaries. It is a running joke in the Vampire Diaries fandom that he cannot die, even though there are many immortal characters throughout the franchise. Somehow this plain ass human survives everything. He would have survived the Titanic. So we've already done a character from the Vampire Diaries in the last video of this series. We ranked Damon and that was it, I believe, out of the whole Vampire Diaries series. And I mentioned that it's been years since I've really sat down and watched this series from beginning to end. It was, I believe, the summer of 2020 after I finished school that I decided to sit down and watch the Vampire Diaries from season 1 to season 8. I believe all in a week.
I'm doing a season a day.
During quarantine. So a lot of details just haven't stuck in my brain because I was consuming so much information, so much lore all at one time. But I do remember Matt Donovan, and I do remember the fact that he was like a roach.
You know, he was like a roach.
No matter how many times you thought you stomped on him, no matter how many times you thought you sprayed him, no matter how many times you thought he disappeared into the abyss and would never return again, you would blink and there he was again. You know, you just could not get rid of Matt Donovan. And it's insane because, like this person said, we've lost so many people in the Vampire Diaries franchise, but Matt Donovan, there's this strength, there is this willpower to him that you cannot escape. You know, he refuses to go anywhere. He has survived all odds. Forget vampires, forget werewolves, forget sirens, forget hybrids, forget all of that. Matt Donovan is his own species and his own realm of immortality. But Matt, the thing about Matt is that he wouldn't involve himself in these situations, not from what I would remember, but somehow he was always roped in. And I feel like if I was in Matt's position, at some point I would be like, you need to leave me the fuck alone. You know, he had this very obvious disdain for the supernatural, and if I were him, I would have moved out from Mystic Falls eons ago. light years ago. He doesn't belong in this world, you know? He was the token human. Certain things he did and just his attitude sometimes would really get to me. But I don't know if when I was originally watching this show, if I strongly disliked him. And like I said earlier, it's been so long since I watched this show. I'm gonna put Matt Donovan in Release the Files. I'm gonna put him in Release the Files because while I do agree that he can be annoying and a thorn in our sides, it's been too long since I watched the show. He's just kind of there. You know, I feel like he doesn't have the biggest impact to the show, but, you know, if I rewatch the show, I would probably feel different about that. Bella Swan. So indecisive, and the name Renesmee and EJ standing for Edward Jacob fries me. Okay. I don't know if I agree with this okay. Ow! I just bit the inside of my mouth. Okay. I don't know if I agree with the sentiment that Bella was indecisive, because the only time we ever really see him... Because the only time we really ever see her with Jacob is when Edward leaves for New Moon, I think is the name of that specific movie. And when he does come back, Bella is immediately right back at his side, you know? And even in one of the movies, I forget which one specifically, she tells Jacob it was always Edward and it will ever only be Edward. So while I do believe that she loved Jacob to an extent, and I feel like the only extent that she loved him at was a friend level, so I don't feel like she was indecisive when it comes to that, because as soon as she saw Edward, she was in love with him. She wanted to be with him at all times. But the whole EJ thing really did throw me off in Breaking Dawn Part 1, when she said, if the baby is a girl, it will be Renesmee, which is Renee, and Esme, which is their two mothers' names combined. Or EJ, which stands for Edward Jacob, which is obviously for
Edward and Jacob.
If I was Edward in that situation, what the fuck do you mean you're gonna name our baby after the man who constantly tries to put himself in between our relationship? What do you mean you're gonna name our baby after the man who wants me dead so that he can be with you instead of me?
Boy, get the hell out of here, boy.
What do you mean you're gonna name our baby after an outsider? Other than that, Bella is really good in my books. I can't remember any reason. Have a safe flight. Have a safe flight. I can't think of any other reason to not like Bella other than her weird mannerisms. So I'm gonna put her in... I know Dada. I know Bella only does things with good intentions. And that includes the whole baby naming thing. Could she have picked a better name than Edward Jacob? Of course. Of course, babes. Of course. I'm not arguing that. But I know Dada. I'm willing to defend her when it comes to certain things. So yeah. Peppa Pig. Stop body shaming your father and annoying everyone around you. Okay, so I don't remember much of Peppa Pig growing up, but I do remember they used to pick on the dad a lot for being larger than everybody else. And I don't stand for that. I don't stand for body shaming, whether it's skinny or fat shaming. You know, as long as you're healthy and as long as you're not hurting yourself or other people, you are allowed to live in your own body. You are allowed to live however you choose to, you know? And if this bitch Peppa Pig is body shaming her own father, I can't defend that. You know, because my dad has a big belly. Would I ever let him know that? Would I ever make fun of him for that? Would I ever ridicule him for that? Absolutely not to all those 3 questions. And you're supposed to be a child actor. You're supposed to be influencing the youth, teaching the youth, and you're actively body shaming him in front of millions per day. Yeah, I can't defend that. You're so real for that, because you know what? If you're not only body shaming people, but you're also annoying people to the fullest extent, you gotta go. You gotta get packed up
Immediately.
bye, girl. Rory Gilmore from Gilmore Girls, and Rory is censored right now. Annoying, entitled, bratty, and immature. Gilmore Girls is my shit. You know, that is one of my top shows of all time. And Rory Gilmore, she falls right into that category, you know. She is one of my favorite characters of all time. She just fits the aesthetic of the girl next door. And I've always loved that trope ever since I was a kid. I can understand why people don't like her, but I love her.
She's an icon.
You know, I see so much of myself in her. And when I was growing up, she was everything I wanted to be. She was good in school. Every boy wanted her. You know, I wanted to be that. I wanted to embody Rory Gilmore when I was growing up. So while I can acknowledge that multiple people feel this way towards her, I can also acknowledge that I do not agree with that. I'm gonna put Rory in I know Dada. I know her. I truly, to my core, am her. Nessa from Wicked, especially the second movie, oh my god, shut the fuck up. Spoiler warning. I mean, I don't really like Bach, but what she did to him, imagine your boyfriend leaves you, so you ban him from moving. The fuck? So the same day I posted part 1 of this was the same day I went with my sister to watch part 2 of Wicked. So yeah, like they said, spoiler warning for anybody who hasn't seen part 2 of Wicked and wants to see it. Skip ahead, skip this section. So yeah, Bach wanted to go after Glinda because that is who he felt he wanted to be with.
Are you surprised?
And she turns him into the Tin Man. I don't really remember if it was her and what she did that turned him into the Tin Man, or if it was Elphaba. Either way, she was the catalyst to it all. She was the one who got pissed off and upset enough to do something that led him to turning into that. And she then in turn gaslit him to believe that it was Elphaba all along. It was all Elphaba's idea. And I feel like if she truly loved him, she would have never done that. Because listen, one of my main vocal stims for the past couple months, especially after Wicked Part 1 came out, was
We deserve each other and going down to come true. We deserve each other, me and Bach.
how do you go from that to turning him into aluminum foil? I get you acted in a fit of rage, but yeah, that is unforgivable. If I was turned into a Tin Man, if I was turned into aluminum foil because I decided I could no longer pretend, if I decided I could no longer fake my love for somebody, and you in turn destroy me as a human being, I would hate you for life. There would be no going back. You know what I mean? So let's just say when that house landed on Miss Nessa Rose and Dory snatched up her shoes, I didn't give a fuck. I did not shed a tear. My eyes were dry. So, sorry.
Clap if you care. Alright, let's move on.
Daniel Tiger from Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood. This fuck-ass tiger is the biggest pick-me I've ever met. He literally throws a huge tantrum every single time the attention isn't on him. He was about to punch his like 2-month-old sister for touching his toys. Ungrateful pick-me ass tiger. Okay. I remember when I was like 8-9 years old, that was when Daniel Tiger or whatever the fuck his name, that was when his show was coming out, and by that time I was already on Hannah Montana, I was already on Wizards of Waverly Place, you know, I was already onto the more mature shit. You know, I didn't give a fuck about PBS Kids or whatever was going on at that time. So I really don't know him. I don't know his character. I don't know what he acts like. But from what I'm hearing, he is the modern day Caillou. So I'm gonna be fair and put him in the bottom tier by default. But what I'm hearing so far doesn't sound too good. You know what I'm saying? Shauna Shipman from Yellow Jackets. She fucked her BFF's boyfriend, and then when the friends found out, she acted like the BFF was in the wrong, which led to her BFF freezing to death. Then she participated in eating her. Oh, what is going on? Then your dada, my dada?
Not my dada.
Repeat a million times. She ended up marrying the boyfriend. Okay. I can't really grasp what's going on here because I've never watched Yellow Jackets and I don't know who this character is. I don't know their lore, but apparently they messed with their BFF's boyfriend. Then the BFF ended up dying and she ended up with the boyfriend of the BFF anyways. That's just what I gathered, you know. I would put them in the bottom tier because I've never seen the show. I don't know the character, but like I said the last video, if you have enough evidence, I will acknowledge if they are a bad character or not. So I'm gonna put what was her name? Shauna Shipman in You're So Real because I feel like if I do watch the show, I will agree with you. Pearl from SpongeBob. She's annoying as fuck. So every time I think of Pearl from SpongeBob, I think of this tweet that I saw. From a couple months ago. And it's just a picture of everybody. It's a picture of everybody in the bikini bottom. I think they're all going to like protest or I don't know, but they've all banded together. And all you see in the crowd is just fucking Pearl. Like, she just takes up so much space. And I just know under, what is that, her nose or whatever that is that protrudes beyond her body, I just know there's people underneath. And the thought of that is so funny to me, it brings tears to my eyes. But beyond that, I love Pearl down. I feel like she is the original make his pockets hurt girl, you know, because she knew her dad was rich but that he was stingy as well, and she broke him out of that, you know. She recognized that he had money, he had the best business in the bikini bottom, and she was going to take full advantage of that, and I will always love her for that. So you know what, me and Pearl, we'll deal with you. You know, I was gonna put her in I Know Dada, but no. Pearl, she is the it girl. Me and Pearl, we're on our way. Ross from Friends. Lord help me. That man being toxically obsessive and possessive towards Rachel, disrespecting her job, sleeping with someone 3 hours after she's said to take a break because of above reasons, trying to blame her for it, etc. Now, Friends came out while I was a kid. When I, got older, I've only seen a couple episodes of it because I remember watching an edit that came across my For You page a couple years ago. So I saw a couple episodes of it, but I never committed to it. Not for any bad reason, just because I was watching other shows at the time, and those were more interesting and engaging to me than Friends was. But I don't ever remember disliking Ross. But based on your reasoning, I feel like if I did finish watching the show, that I would see where you're coming from. Because the few episodes that I did see were from the first season, and him and Rachel weren't together from what I remember. Based on your reasoning, I'm gonna put him in You're So Real, because a toxic, manipulative man doesn't stand a chance around these parts. You know, I've dealt with my fair share of shitty men, and they have no room in this realm. Okay? So, Mr. Ross, whatever your last name is from Friends, fuck you. And goodbye. Dorothy, she literally didn't live in Oz and acts like she runs everything. Bitch, she doesn't even go here. Also, she stole a dead woman's shoes. So like I said, the same day I posted part 1, I watched Wicked part 2. And let me tell you, Dorothy actually did work my last nerves. We didn't even get to see her face, but she still managed to get on my nerves. I wanted her dead. I wanted her long gone. Because, like you said, not only did she take Nessa Rose's shoes, the last piece of Nessa that Elphaba would have had, she took it. Then, she takes it upon herself to kill Elphaba.
Oh, who is you?
Who are you? Who are you? Where did you spawn from? You know?
She pissed me off a great deal, to say the least. Yeah, you're so real. You're so real. You know, I wanted Elphaba to get her revenge on Dorothy so bad. For not only taking Nessa's shoes, but for also killing her. I've never seen The Wizard of Oz, like the 1900s one, but the Dorothy in this universe, in this movie, I'm not having it. Mike Wheeler from Stranger Things. He's low-key just a whiny little bitch. And Malevolent has got to be the worst thing ever. I've never really had a problem with Mike, especially with season 5 just coming out and having rewatched the first 4 seasons before season 5 came out. Other than the moment in season 3, we'll let the big fucking plane go before. But I never really had a problem with Mike, other than the moment in season 3 where Will is trying to get them to play D&D and the boys are just not having it, and Mike is like, it's not my fault you don't like girls or whatever. But the more I think about it, it's like they're what 14, 15, or maybe even 13, because season 3 takes place in 85, I believe. And season 5 is 87, and they're like 15, 16 around that time. So in season 3, they would be around 13 or 14, right? And I feel like around 13, 14 is where you're kind of ditching your childish or your childhood activities in general. And that for them would include D&D. And with Will having lost a good portion of his childhood and a large portion of his innocence to being snatched up and taken into the Upside Down, I feel like that's where their disconnect is. I feel like around that age, you get to the point where some shit you let go of and other things become a priority to you, which would be 11 for Mike. You know, his first ever girlfriend just broke up with him and his friend wants to play D&D. So while that is the only really bad thing about Mike that I can remember, I don't feel like he's a bad character. I don't feel like he's whiny. I feel like, if anything, he wants the best for the people he cares about, and I think that's a good quality to have. So I'm gonna put him in I Know Dada. I feel like he has good intentions behind his actions, and that's something I'm willing to defend. Player 333 from Squid Game. I'm so happy that bitch is dead. Killed my king Thanos. God, I will never forgive him. Killed so many amazing characters. Tried to kill his own baby, and overall, I just don't like him. He pisses me off.
This plane pisses
piss me off. How about that? God. Anyways, I think I mentioned this a couple times on this channel. I've never seen Squid Game. I've only seen part of the first ever episode. I really don't have an interest in watching it. It's just not my vibe when it comes to shows. So I'm gonna put him in the bottom tier. I would put him in You're So Real because again, I feel like you have good evidence. And I feel like even when I do watch the show, I would move him into the second tier. But for right now, just for this moment, just for this tier list specifically, I'm gonna put him in the bottom tier. Just for right now. Just as a little placeholder. Ben Hope from Heartstopper. He assaults Charlie, still wants him, and then makes Charlie feel bad for not wanting to be with him. Then gets a girlfriend and uses her to make Charlie jealous. And he comes after Nick for no reason too many times. Now, I don't want my ass beat for saying this, but I've never seen Heartstopper.
What?
I know it's like the gay show of all time, but and me being a bisexual woman, I should have seen it by now. But I don't know, it's just never been on my radar. But maybe that'll change after this video and enough of you yell at me to watch it. But yeah, like I said, I don't know this character. I've never seen this show. But apparently he assaulted somebody and I don't like that. So I'm gonna put him in You're So Real because that is undeniable. Like, you know, I feel like you can't come back from that. So I'm gonna put him in You're So Real because I doubt if I watched the show then I would still have some love for this character. And yeah. Okay, so that is our tier list for today. We have a lot more people in the You're So Real tier than we did last time, and I quite like that. I quite like that we have this mutual dislike for the same characters. You know, we are one and the same. But yeah, that is it for the first ever video of JOJOMAS. Again, if you have a better name for this, please let me know. I love you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you want a part 3. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a comment, like the video, subscribe, do all that shit. Follow my socials in the description, and I'll see you guys in the next freaking video. Adios.